Tony?
There's Andy. First one of the day, folks.
First one today, no?
God. License plate number, I don't know. Good one. And he bites it. Come on, just let's get out of here. Yeah. Good, let's waste too much time. I don't know how much longer this thing's gonna last. Go. Wait, I think it's too dark. It's not? Okay. Go. Bipster.
Great. I didn't know my fucking glove.
Bite the bullet, man. Okay. Come on, dude. There's a lizard in my backyard.
Oh, man.
Oh, man.
So small, man. Whoa.
There's a lizard. He handled that curve nicely. I'd say. Yeah.
Do one more.
Believe it, dude, you weren't. Go. The little bunny goes through the hole and tie your shoes. Ooh, intimidated by the group. Here we go. Yeah. Okay, Big Andy's turn. Still filming. Aha! Run onto you, folks. Wow. No such thing as too fast. Only too scared. Look at that. Ollie. Oh, maybe not.
Check this out, I'm an ambidextrous skater.
Oh. Aren't we cool? Get Andy. Oh, and he bites it.
Ouch.
Ouchie. Hey, look. Tell me when you get tired. Safari to adventure. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, just like the ones I used to know.
Yeah.
May your days be merry and bright, and may your Christmas be Ooh, wow. Mercedes-Benz, wow, what fun. Really? Andrew's dad. Rich guy. What does Andrew's dad do? Huh? Hey, Folin. Toady. What does Andrew's dad do?
What?
What does Andrew's dad do?
Sounds pretty good.
Guess so. There's Jesse's house. Her father's a bookie.
Yeah. Finally, man.
Did Jesse's dad get arrested?
I don't think so. Money talks.
Yeah, money talks.
Look, I'm ambidextrous too. Woo!
Even better than me. Wait, you gotta see this here. Hold on. Look at that. Video camera. It's a bookie, man. Oh, he's scared dude. Oh, pain.
That's enough for today.
Bridget and Ben Bisconer of South San Francisco are about to do the hardest thing they've had to do since little Benjamin came into their lives. Today, they are taking their baby to a daycare center for the first time.
Do you look cute?
I don't like the idea of putting him in a daycare center. It's not an idea that I enjoy. We needed the money, we want to get ahead, own a house, get out of the apartment, paying rent. In order for us to excel at a reasonable speed, we needed us to both work. Is he gonna learn all kinds of bad things from the other kids? Do they go yanking on everybody's hair, or kids all runny-nosed and, screaming and yelling all the time? Or, those questions are hard to get answered. You can't tell a person who's a child molester from looking at them. So that even is a worse thing. You know, there's been cases where those things happen.
Hold still, sweetheart.
Bridget and Ben are not alone. In fact, their story is very typical. Maternity leave is over, and it's time for Mom to go back to work. They have fears, and they have guilt. After all, they're about to hand over their precious child to someone they hardly know. More than half of the working mothers in the Bay Area return to their jobs before their child's first birthday. Little Ben is 18 months old.
Hi. Hi, Bridget. Hi. Here we go.
You want to take your coat off?
Yeah.
Let's see what's over here. Okay. There's a house over there. We could go iron.
I'm feeling pretty good. Yeah, I like the looks of the place, and I think he's already beginning to enjoy himself. He's not going to miss me much. Yeah, I always miss him when I'm away from him. Every baby I see, you know, reminds me of him. Have a good day. Bye-bye, Benji. Bye-bye. Mommy's going. Mommy's going. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Bye, honey. All right. See you later.
There has been more attention given to the daycare situation this year than ever before. What was once a very personal problem has become the concern of our government and our employers as well. With the rise of two-income families and single parents, the demand for daycare facilities has gotten out of hand. It's a problem that cuts right through race, color, and class, and it's a problem that's not going to be fixed overnight. But at least people are starting to talk. Legislation is being proposed, and agencies like the San Francisco Resources and Referral for Child Care are pointing anxious parents in the right direction. Patty Siegel.
Your baby is the most important thing to you, and finding the best possible care is going to make your life at work and at home a lot easier. And I think that we've been enormously private about what happens to our children, and we as parents have been rather hesitant to talk publicly about our child care needs. It's sort of like a private problem, and you have this feeling that you ought to be able to work it out yourself. And if you need help, you're sort of reluctant to ask for it. Half the parents around you, maybe all the parents around you, are facing the same thing. So I think it's really to the whole society's benefit to pay attention to how we're raising young people. Because what we do with kids when they're 6 months old, when they're 2 years old, when they're 3, 4 years old is going to have a big impact on how those children function when they're 10, when they're 12, when they're 16, when they're 22, when we want to hire them to work in our offices to run our society.
I got kind of worried, you know, when I left because he hadn't taken his nap yet, and I was worried how he was gonna cry a lot or what. But she said he took an hour nap. I like this place. It's a nice place, and he's enjoying himself very much. So it was a pretty good day.
Next, personal stories from people living the daycare dilemma.
I used to miss my mom. I'd cry when she would leave.
I don't feel great about leaving him at the daycare center, but it is something that I have to do. I have to go and work and provide for him, so that decision has to be done.
It makes me choke right now. I know it's just that close to the surface that it really hurts. I mean, I know friends who leave their baby with their best friend or an in-law, and it hurts.
I used to miss my mom. I'd cry when she would leave because I didn't like the. I wanted my mom to stay with me. I didn't want her to leave.
I'm concerned that he'll be screaming all day, that he won't eat since he's had trouble adjusting to a bottle. And I'm scared that he's going to feel that he's been abandoned by his mommy.
As parents, we all have different child care needs, but our wants are the same. If we have to work, we want safe, quality daycare for our kids. We want to be sure that we're doing the right thing for our children. We want all these things, guilt-free at a reasonable price. But most single parents have no choice but to work.
Well, I've been applying for different daycare centers that they have for low-income parents.
Stacy Eagleton is a working single parent from Oakland. Her maternity leave is just about over, and trying to find affordable daycare for her son Kenneth has become a daytime nightmare.
Like if you was to make like $2,000 or $3,000 a month, then you wouldn't be eligible for it. But in my situation, I am eligible for it, but it's so many people that makes lower than what I do. So my chance of getting on is 0. On my salary, I make take home $950 a month, and my rent is $475. And you know you have to buy diapers, milk, and etc. And I really couldn't pay for a $300 to $400 daycare center. There's no way.
Oh, Amar, that looks so pretty, doesn't it? Look.
General subsidized child care is available, but there just isn't enough to go around. It's a fact Patty Siegel has to explain to families almost every day.
I often say that if 1 in 10 low-income working parents in this community on any given day can find the child care they need and afford, they're going to be very fortunate. And 9 others are going to have a really, really hard time. If I could change something immediately, I would bring a lot more money into the state to help finance the child care of low-income working parents. Because not only would it help us finance child care services for low-income working parents, it would also bring some of the training, some of the resources for child care providers that have been really lacking.
I think that there should be some justice made for young working mothers that's trying to go to work, and rather than being on welfare. I think that if they're trying to go out there and work, that they should have some type of daycare center for them.
Give me 3 stocks, please.
Fortunately for Karen Jess Lindsley and her husband Alan, they can afford daycare. But just recently, Karen gave up her $80,000 a year executive job to become full-time mom to their children, Ryan and Bryce. According to Karen, it was for the good of the family.
After a lot of soul searching and some long discussions into the wee hours of the night with my husband Alan, we came to the conclusion that it was worth it to us for me to take a hiatus in my job or from my career to try and make life a little bit better for us as a family.
And we had become accustomed to a 2-income family, which is quite nice. And it was very scary to go down to 1 income. But we've done it. We've done it very successfully. We feel our quality of life has improved immensely because we're not rushing as hard and fast as we are.
Brycey, can you climb up here?
It was very hard to leave work. It took me over a year of staying at home with the kids to adjust to not working. And the hardest part was because my identity was totally wrapped up in my work. It's like, if I'm not working, what am I? And I had fears of becoming an uninteresting person, and of, gee, I just spent a whole day and all I have to show for it is 2 kids that aren't screaming. Or sometimes all I had to show was kids who were screaming. But then I learned that you weren't measured by job performances or a paycheck, but in hugs and kisses, and kids who felt secure about themselves and their world. But there are days when a small child is just out of sorts with the world and they want their mom. And you're not there and you don't even know that they need you. They don't even know that they need you. But sometimes there's just a hug. I mean, I never got to just, Brian would scrape his knee and I never got to hold him because he scraped his knee. It's a little thing. But Bryce scrapes his knee and I'm always there for a hug. And I can see where life's a little easier for him because of that.
So what we like to talk about in this group is what's on your minds, what prompted you to come here tonight, what your particular concerns are.
Rich, poor, married or single, what we do with our kids while we work has been a personal family problem. The recent child care movement has produced encounter groups and workshops like this one at Bananas in Berkeley. The goal, to bring anxious moms and dads together to talk about their fears and concerns.
I came, I guess, because I'm partly confused about what kind of childcare I want to get for him, and just sort of to see if I can learn anything while I'm searching.
Well, I want to make sure that the care that he gets is the best that we can afford, and I think you have to start talking price too. I don't want him growing up sitting in front of a TV set or thrown inside of a playpen with a stack of toys and to fend for himself.
I'm not sure, first of all, whether I'll go back there or not. Ideally, I guess, you have all the time in the world to work, and you don't have it with the baby. What makes babies and families work well together is when parents do feel sad about leaving their babies, because that's a sign of how much they love them and how attached they are to them.
There are literally millions of parents all over the country going through the same thing. There is strength in numbers. You feel better when you know that you're part of a group. And people aren't going to know that it is a problem for us if we don't talk about it, if we don't share it.
I'm having very, very mixed feelings about going back.
Why is America so far behind?
There are only 4 industrialized countries right now that don't have a maternity leave policy, and that's South Africa, Sudan, Upper Volta, and the United States.
Sometimes you can have too much of a good thing.
There are only 4 industrialized countries right now that don't have a maternity leave policy, and that's South Africa, Sudan, Upper Volta, and the United States.
What do we want? Equality! When do we want it? Now!
I think the women's movement has been supportive, but I don't think that child care has necessarily been at the top of that agenda. We're not going to solve all the problems this year, but I think that we're going to play catch up.
More than half of the babies in the Bay Area have working moms, and it's been predicted by the year 2000 more than 80% of the mothers in the United States will work. But when it comes to support from our government, the United States is far behind. Our maternity leave standard is one of the shortest in the world. In Sweden, mothers get up to 9.5 months maternity leave with 90% of their pay. In California, maternity leave averages 2 months with pay. And when it comes time to go back to work, what we do with our babies is our own personal problem. Historically, it's been mom's problem.
Women wanted for war production work here in our city. Why? It takes human power to keep war factories going, and much of our manpower is going to war. More and more men are being called into the armed forces. Their jobs must be filled, and filled now. And who can fill them? You women.
During World War II, there was national legislation, the Lanham Act, that was created to establish daycare centers all over the country. It was the golden age of child care, and I always say, I sort of hope it doesn't take another world war to get child care back on the top of the national agenda.
American women worked in factories while the men fought the war.